Thank you much.
I was 10 years old, sitting in a church in Charleston, South Carolina, with my favorite aunt in the world, listening to the preacher tell me a story about how a small boy made a difference. There was a big storm that swept through, like right along the beach. And right after the storm, this little boy was out walking on the beach. And there were thousands of starfish all lined up, just strewn across the sand. And the thing about starfish out of the water is that they're going to die. And so this little boy was walking down the beach, and every so often he would bend down and pick up a starfish and throw it into the ocean. But there were thousands more, and this other old man that was there watching him came up to him and said, like, boy, like, what are you doing? Like you're never gonna make a difference. Look at all these starfish out here. Like, what do you expect to be able to do? And the boy thought about it, and then he bent down and picked up another starfish, and he threw that one into the ocean. And he said, I made all the difference in the world for that starfish. And that story stuck with me a little bit, because just like in that story, I wanted to make a difference in the life of a single animal. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that that very same night, we had a huge storm that rolled through Charleston, South Carolina. And the very next morning, just like that little boy, this little boy was walking on that beach, and we had all kinds of things across that beach. They weren't starfish though. Thousands of jellyfish had washed up. But I was young, I didn't really know, what jellyfish did, right? And so I wanted to make that same change too. And so I went to pick up a jellyfish and throw it into the ocean. But as I did, I let go of the jellyfish, and its tentacles like wrapped around my arm. And I don't know if anybody's ever been stung by a jellyfish, but it feels like a murder hornet just burrowed into your skin and just kind of nested its way in there and just like started raising a family, right? It hurts for a long time. And I had these welts that wrapped all the way up and down my arm. But I saved a single jellyfish. I made a difference in that jellyfish's life. I certainly didn't pick up another one and try to throw it back in there, but I made a difference in one, and that jellyfish certainly made a difference in my life. Who here wants to make a difference? Yeah, great. I'm talking to the right audience. Y'all are my people. See, most of us desire to be important in some way, to be that linchpin of support for those that we care about in our lives. But who can make a difference? What does it take to make a difference? Can you make a difference? What if I told you that if no matter what you do, you'll make a difference in the lives of every single person you interact with? How does that make you feel? Just by being alive, you make a difference. Just by being alive. So this becomes a slightly different question, because we get to ask not how can I make a difference, but what kind of difference will I make? We have positive differences and negative differences. We affect people positively and negatively. For example, off the coast of South Carolina, 30 years after that day, my actions could be completely ruining some poor child's day on the beach. That jellyfish could have spawned many, many more jellyfish, and they could be stinging people right now as we speak. And I certainly impacted that, and that's a difference. But how many of us want to make a positive difference rather than a negative one? Right? Like now that we've got that out of the way, right? So we're focusing now on positive differences. How do we influence that? Well, to be able to make a positive difference in anyone's life, we have to start closer to home. Not where we physically live, but where we mentally live. We need to take care of ourselves first. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves, how can we possibly influence the direction of our own lives? Or how could we possibly ever hope to influence others? But to make a consistently positive difference in the lives of others, we need to take care of our mind, our body, and our spirit. Our body, we need to to better ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves physically, but we need to take care of our mind too. This is the most powerful device that's ever been created, that's ever existed. Our thought influences everything. And so if we're in a negative mindset, if we constantly think negative thoughts, we're going to affect others negatively in our lives, and vice versa. And our spirit, like what makes you come alive, right? What are your passions? What are those things that just get your motor going? Like the topics that make you red in the face. And like, this is what we need to use and focus in on and hone to engage and uplift the other people in our lives, right? Like we make a difference no matter what. And I want you to think right now about your passions, to find your cause, to find your spirit, to find your purpose and your passion. If you had a genie right here, right now, that could grant you any one wish that could immediately change this world, what would you wish for? Take the time to really think about that. What would you wish for? And just like that jellyfish, this change might sting. It might hurt. It might make you question your motives, lower your passion. It might test your resolve. But like any good positive difference, we have to keep at it. We have to keep working on ourselves. Because when we're working on ourselves, we won't immediately notice changes and improvements. We won't always notice the influence we have on other people in our lives. But that shouldn't stop us from being that jellyfish linchpin of change for ourselves and others. Back to you.
Thank you.